All right, we are recording the Kubernetes SIG network meeting for Thursday, November 14th, 2019. Why don't we start it right off with our standard issue triage. Rob, are you gonna
Yeah,
run that this
I'm
time?
here, but still having some technical difficulties. So just to get triage.
That's all right. Do you want us to wait a moment, or should we come back to you
in progress? I have to connect to Google's own video chat to make it so everyone else can hear and see.
So while he's getting that set up, we could talk about the item that I put just under this, which is, I noticed that when we first started doing this, it was taking us a long time because we had this huge backlog of issues. And now the last few weeks, there have only been like a handful of issues to review. So should we think about maybe trying to deal with our PR backlog or reviewing flaky tests to make sure that, things aren't, or, something like that, and have an alternating series of triage events for our meetings?
Are we live? Can you hear? I love that idea, especially the PR backlog. The project overall accumulates about is it 100 PRs into our backlog every new release. So consistently every release we just go up by about 100 PRs. So we should try to maybe burn through those. That'd be wonderful. Wonderful thing to start triaging. Dan, are you volunteering?
I guess maybe I am. I could lead it at the next meeting. Yeah.
Cool.
That
sounds great. Well, let me go ahead and get into issue triage if that works for you. Share my screen. All right, can everyone see this? Cool. All right, so support external traffic policy on cluster IP. This is a very new one. It's been around an hour. Not a whole lot here.
I think this is a duplicate, if I recall correctly.
Which one?
I think that's a duplicate. I don't remember the issue number, but you can assign this one to me and I'll try to track it down. I think there's another issue open.
I just approved topology today. So isn't this exactly topology?
It's basically what they want. Yeah, I remember this was open a couple months ago too, and then we closed it.
Yeah, assign it to me. I will cross-reference the topology stuff, and I think.
And I think this also references the PR I have open on the cap.
All right.
So then this issue, so the previous issue also references the PR I have on the cap.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that it has to do with detecting and not detecting cluster IP traffic.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that was easy. Next one, downward API volume should have huge pages exposed to the pod through resource field ref. Looked at this just briefly.
Why is this SIG network?
Yeah.
It's SIG. They tried every SIG, so
no, it's not SIG network. SIG node.
API volumes should also have huge pages.
All right, so this should be SIG node only, correct?
Yes.
I'll come back to this one and pull other SIGs off of it and remove the triage. That's every SIG they could think of. Yeah. Okay. All right. External traffic policy local doesn't work when the firewall is running. Firewall D is running. I don't think anyone has looked at this yet. Any volunteers on this one?
I guess you can give it to me.
Mr. Firewall D. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you.
You're, yeah.
Dan Winship.
No, not that.
Not DCBW, Dan Winship.
Okay.
Not Dan.
Perfect. All right, node port allocation conflates TCP and UDP. Not able to connect to the port sometimes using the same port number with different protocols. That's what this is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like we have an E2E test that verifies that this works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do too.
Anyone want to follow up on this one?
I guess you can give that to me too.
Thanks,
Come
Dan.
on.
But I'm done for the day.
All right, adding new handler, post-ready hook. This is more of a proposal specific to HA proxy ingress. Wanting to have something like after readiness succeeds. Yeah, once a
Isn't this
pod
what
is ready.
readiness gates are for?
Yeah,
You're going to assign this one to me,
okay.
and I'll bounce it to me now.
Okay. Should I just assign Minhan?
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'll tell
Skip
him
the
about it
middleman.
after. Yeah. Kubelet supports IPs and Mac CNI capabilities. So basically, why can't Kubelet support?
I mean, Kubelet doesn't really have much to do with this because where is it going to get that information from to pass through?
Sure.
We've had this conversation a little bit or something similar about should there be a namespace of annotations that we automatically pass down into CNI plugins, like a particular prefix or something. I forget what happened with it, but I mean, obviously it didn't get implemented.
Yeah, so we pass annotations down to the runtimes, and it's sort of up to the runtime itself to figure out what to do with that. So it's like this could be hooked up to CNI, but you'd have to standardize, like Tim said, that prefix or something like that. Like the pieces are mostly there, but it's more of a political question, not a technical question, how far we want to go in kind of having a pass-through essentially into the network plugins.
Do you want to respond to this one, Dan?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You said what you just said, but typed it up.
Sure, I'm not sure how much that's going to help though, because it's more about like, you know, if somebody wants to try to propose standardizing this stuff, you know, I guess they could bring it to the SIG and talk about it. But I feel like we've talked about it before and we've kind of punted it outside of Cube.
Well, at least at that point, the issue would be out of triage, and we'd said, like, it's a legit feature request, right?
Also, Dan, isn't this one of the recent things we did in the network plumbing group?
To some degree, yes. And that's one way to do that kind of thing. But this would be more, it sounds like what this is trying to do is standardize that in Kubernetes itself, which I guess would be a good thing, but there are reasons why we have decided not to do that.
My point is simply,
I mean, I'm happy to revisit.
Right. My point is simply that, you know, we did accept it in the network plumbing group, so it seems reasonable to contemplate, you know, more broadly, and even in anticipation of eventual harmony with the work in the network plumbing group.
Right. You know, there are a lot of considerations around it. So yeah, I guess we'd accept some kind of KEP for that, and then we can actually discuss the specifics. So yeah, why don't you just assign it to me?
All right, Core DNS and an HA cluster 1.16 behaves unexpectedly.
You can assign that to me, Crypto Haver.
Okay. Okay. All right, incorrect pod broadcast address, ILCTL.
Is the mapping?
A flannel. Huh.
Well, Casey, we've historically thrown those at you. Is that still a safe assumption?
I mean, the other option is to tag Rajat Chopra on it, since he is actually doing a lot of flannel work these days.
I haven't heard from Rajat in a long time. Why don't you do that? R-A-J-A-T.
It's kind of a punt, but yeah, since he does flannel a lot, give it to him and see what happens.
Cool.
Tell him he's welcome to come to our meetings. You know, we miss him.
Well, he's at NVIDIA now.
Oh, that's right. I did know that. Well, he can still come to our meetings.
Yep. Yeah, he can still come. That's fine.
This issue really does not have a lot of information with it, just an Apache bench and the output of that, and Kubernetes 113 claiming an IP tables kubeproxy problem. No one has responded here yet.
Doesn't even say what the problem is.
Correct.
I think maybe it has something to do with that connection reset by peer 104. Is that what they're complaining about? Or 20,000 requests or something?
That's, yeah, during a deployment rolling update.
I'll find that to me. I can take a look at it.
Okay.
This is one that you can push back for more info or close, right? Like, it may be that there's a real bug here, but there's not enough for us to even reproduce it.
Yeah. At least I'm gonna ask him really more information or something that helps us to identify what's happening.
Great.
Cool.
I think this is one that I owe a response on still. I haven't looked at.
Okay.
Picked up a couple last time and just haven't been able to get to them yet.
Yep, there you are. Okay. Yeah, so this may be getting into overlap now with ones we've already covered. So just making sure we haven't already. Oh,
I'm engaged in this one, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I'm engaged, so. If you want.
Okay, good enough. This one, no one's assigned to it. Node port service with external traffic policy local doesn't work well for internal traffic. That's exactly, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Andrew already responded with, is this something like we should close as working as intended? Or not working as intended?
It's working as intended.
I think it is working as intended.
Yeah.
You can just /close. This seems to be working as intended, if not as desired.
But what is their desire? It's not clear actually like what they would expect to happen.
Internal traffic to behave the same as external traffic. I haven't read it yet. Let's say external traffic policy. So we're for internal traffic.
I look forward to topology replacing external traffic policy entirely, so we can stop arguing about what external means.
Yeah.
All right, kubeproxy clean UDP contract after node network resumed. And actually, I think Andrew's already on this one. Well, yeah, it's been closed and reopened, but I think this is still.
Yeah, I can
Andrew, are
follow
you
up
on
with this
this
one.
call? Okay. Cool. And then the last one, service to pod communication is broken. And it looks like Casey's already on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it for triage this time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So I'm signed up for PR triage next time, but 2 weeks from now is Thanksgiving. Are we meeting then, or are we just skipping that?
I mean, the Europeans and all can meet, but I'm going to be on vacation. So I think our next call will be a month from today, or 4 weeks from today.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds right to me. So next up, we got Dan Williams for some dual stack discussion.
Oh man, skip that. Might as well just take it off the agenda for now. Unless anybody else.
There were a few other sub points from Andrew and Dan Winship. Do you want to talk about those, or?
Yep, might as well.
All right, Andrew, do you want to lead that?
Sure. I think I wrote this last week, so I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. Yeah, so my biggest question is, if there's a node that has one v4 internal IP and one v6 internal IP, what is the mechanism that we're using to let a user pick which one is preferred for, generic kubelet actions like getting logs or download API, things like that? Should it just be the first IP that the cloud provider sets, or do we want some other way for a user to specify which one?
I'm not sure first IP is specific enough.
Well, so I responded to this with, right now we always take the first IPv4 IP, either that the cloud provider returns or that we find on a network interface. And it turns out it's pretty simple. If you just change kubelet to allow you to say node IP : meaning the unspecified IPv6 address, then we can have it pick the first cloud IPv6 address or the first IPv6 address found on an interface. And it's a pretty small patch, and seemed like maybe a good way to do that.
Well, and you said you got a link there, Dan, that says the API server does that.
So API server used to have the oddity that if you told it to bind to the IPv6 address, it would still advertise the IPv4 address. And I changed that. So
what I'm saying is, it seems like having consistency between components is a good thing.
Not deliberate, but the thing that my concern is how deliberate this is.
I don't think it's deliberate. I mean, it seems like all of the single stack IPv6 stuff was originally done, and the dual stack was originally done with the assumption that if you have any IPv4 addresses, you prefer them to the IPv6 addresses. And we can't change that now, but we can at least make it possible for people to specify that they want to prefer the IPv6 addresses.
I mean, part of what Dan's saying is that just because you have a node with v4 addresses does not mean that you want to necessarily run v4. It may be the case that you want to run v6 single stack in a setup where nodes have both v4 and v6 connectivity, but you effectively want to ignore v4 connectivity. And that currently doesn't work.
And that's what got me started working on this, although it does help with the case of somebody who has a dual stack cluster but wants to prefer the IPv6 addresses as well.
Yep.
I'm probably going to file a PR with the patch linked from there soon. So if people can be watching out for that, we can discuss it there. Or if people have comments now or think it's terrible and want to stop me before I file it.
I think what you're trying to do is that it is right. I am not sure if it's everything we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it may end up needing more patches to other places after this. And I wasn't quite sure what to do about cloud providers or external cloud providers.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw the curveball at you today. All right. The publish address of API server is still single stack. I know it's somehow not exactly the topic you're trying to solve for, but it is related. So in a lot of ways, we've never sat down and said, look, the cluster has an infrastructure backbone communication that's happening somewhere between API server and nodes and API server, right? And the way everything is configured right now, it's discretely configured. You can configure this one way, and then the other thing is another way, and so on. And even our docs doesn't talk about these things explicitly, like, hey, the infrastructure connections needed by your cluster is going to be explicitly described as whatever in node object or whatever in API server configuration. We don't do that. So my vote is, I think we should do what Dan wants to do, right? And then we need to take some time and think about this entire infrastructure connection or whatever we're going to call it. It's just something to tell users, yeah, well, the thing will be configured that way, no matter how, and then you can have you will have control over IPs or whatever published IPs or families and so on. So that's my vote, but that will require some thinking, not something I have on top of my head right now.
So I'm still confused what happens if the kubelet doesn't set node IP.
In that case, it falls back to the current default behavior, which is prefer IPv4.
But is it prefer IPv4 today?
Yes.
Like in the kubelet, like when kubelet does get host IP or whatever, it just picks the first internal IP. So couldn't that be the v6 address?
For the cloud provider case, it might pick the first one that the cloud provider returns. I don't remember. It may. For the bare metal case, it definitely will prefer IPv4. If there's any routable IPv4 address on the system, it will use that over IPv6.
So I'm speaking on behalf of Antonio. He was posting on chat. He cannot speak. He was saying Golang has a preference for v4. So if you don't bind to anything, it will bind to v4. That's what I think he's saying, at least. Also, common to just
Hi.
Right?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Cool. Sorry. No, the thing is, we had this issue with Golang, and I don't remember the issue. The problem is just not with when you bind, and Go binds for IPv4, and the other problem is with the DNS. Golang falls back to IPv4 for all the resolvable addresses. So that's the problem here is that it's just not a matter of changing things. We need to understand. So all the things that are binding to ports, if they are using host names, what IP addresses are using, is very complicated, this problem. I mean, the thing is, you can choose if you use a host name, it's going to fall back to IPv4. And the problem is, you start to mix IPv6 and host names, you are going to have a system that is working with two different IP families.
Return quad A. Sorry, doesn't DNS resolution return quad A first? Like if you resolve through DNS, doesn't actually prefer v6 first? What does that mean?
The Linux server prefers IPv6, so the host, the operating system prefers IPv6, but the Golang library prefers IPv4.
I see.
I don't think it's protected.
Yeah.
Mass.
Okay, so we're going to look for a PR from Dan and keep going with that.
Yeah, just a comment on cloud providers. At least the cloud providers I know that has the support to the two families, they actually prefer turning IPv4 first. So that's another thing to think about. But for now, yes.
So what do you mean by preferring IPv4? Like they're just ordering the addresses on the node?
Yeah. The fabric itself was designed because all the cloud underlying fabric was designed v4 first, then v6. All right. So it returns the v4 first, then v6. It's a side effect of how things were progressively implemented.
Okay, so I think that was kind of the answer I was looking for. Like if that's a pattern we're following, like that's fine with me. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
On the short term, I think yes. Let's go with the PR Dan is proposing, and then we stop and think about this in a bigger, like all the angles, because obviously we need to think about it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Next item was Satya on the cider cap.
Yep. So the PR for the cap is out. I think it got a okay to test today. I just want to bring it up. I don't know if you want to discuss the details here, but at least I'm hoping we can start the discussion on the PR and get to some sort of approval. So I did leave the implementation section a little bit open because it's still not marked as implementable. I just wanted to see if you have consensus in the direction and then get that merged in, and then I can follow up with the actual implementation section, because just adding 3 flags. And then the question is, since we're just adding flags, do we have to go through an alpha feature gate or something, or can we just add the flags, right? Because it's an opt-in behavior in some sense and doesn't change if you don't change any defaults. So I wanted to leave the implementation conversation independent of the direction conversation. If you want to do it, and I'm hoping we can get this merged in at post discussions, obviously.
But the implementation would be command line flags or some other thing?
Command line flags. Oh. The flags that were documented in that cap. Right. There's already some discussion. There were some comments. I've replied to those, but yes.
So Satya, I've taken a look at it. I have some pending comments, so you should. I am hoping to post those later today or this week at least. So that'll be coming soon.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. In that case, I think we'll probably leave the rest of the discussion of that to the cap.
Yep.
But thanks for calling it out, keeping us honest. Laki, do you want to go next on PR status?
Sure. So as everybody knows and probably doesn't like to admit, it's code freeze today for 117. So I thought I would just go through the 4 PRs we put forth for 117 and make a decision on if we want to go for any and get them merged, or if we want to just let them lapse, and I'll let the release team know. So I'll just pop the hood. This shouldn't take too long. Hopefully you all can see this.
Yep.
Let me know. So I had put forth these 4 PRs. I'll go through them just quickly. One is dual stack support for kube proxy in IP tables mode. I did a quick look through this. It looks like it needs a rebase and hasn't been touched since October 13th, where Antonio was calling out, can we take a look? I don't know. This is probably the biggest of the PRs that we have. Do you think we want to go for getting this through? Is Valerie on the call? So I think I could follow up with Valerie and see if this is actually ready. I think we need a rebase on the meta proxy, but do you think we should try and get this through? I can raise an exception or punt it to 118.
Who? We need this for, we're not going beta with dual stack, right?
Nope.
Okay. So we need this to go beta, but if we're not going beta, I guess it's not critical.
Yeah.
I don't think this is worth heroics.
Okay.
Somebody tell
I
me.
will. Yeah, I mean, if there's, I
So,
think there's a lot of work that needs to be done here.
so I vote we go with this PR early next release
Okay.
and push. So put the V1.18 as the beta, that release we go beta with dual stack.
Okay. I will run that by Valerie so she's not surprised about the outcome here.
Yeah.
Make
So
sure she's in agreement and then go from there.
with
Thank
this,
you.
yeah, with this and the endpoint slice stuff that we've been working on, we should
Yep.
have feature complete sort of. And the APIs, I don't think will change the APIs just by the sheer volume of agony that this will generate. So
Okay, so I will follow that one up. This one you had raised, Cal. I just want to check, has this been sunset for Rob's PR?
yes,
85246, which is merged. So that
yes,
one is in.
yes.
Okay.
That's the
Just a quick question for me, because I'm going to write the docs. Does this require documentation changes?
yes, we have one entry that says the endpoint, the dual stack is mutually exclusive with endpoint slice. Now it's
And
not.
that's now not
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Okay. I will get that documented. Thank you. And thanks, Rob, for getting that in and merged. Downward, dual stack downward API. This is by Anish. I think it's good to go. Andrew had commented on it 8 days ago. Anish has responded to that. It has an LGTM. It's looking for approval. And I think this solves Etsy hosts and downward API to publish a list of IP addresses, my pod IPs. So this will give you, if you query the downward API for status pod IPs, you'll get a list of IP addresses, and we'll also go and throw the address in there in Etsy hosts in the pod. Do we want to go for getting this? I think it's gone through several iterations. I think Tim took a pass several months ago, and I can't remember if it's this one or the cluster side of thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was this one, but the result that I just saw looks like what I would expect. So LGTM. I mean, I'm assuming that smart people have looked at the code.
Yeah, I guess Andrew looks to have looked at it the most recently. So I don't know if Andrew's in a position to give it. What are we waiting on here? It just needs an approve and a milestone.
Depending on an approval, somebody with approval rights.
Yeah, I just reviewed it, but I can't approve it. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody want to rubber stamp it? What's that?
Am I assigned? Can you scroll up, or whoever's driving?
Yeah. Sorry, it's me driving. I need to learn to drive.
I am assigned.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
I have a tab open with all of my assigned PRs, and I will go through them and at least try to pick off anything I can pick off today. Procedurally, next time, let's not make the code freeze the day before people leave for KubeCon.
Yeah, but last time we did it the week of KubeCon, so this is marginally better.
I'm not sure I agree, actually.
Yeah, well,
I literally have more free time next week.
Do you want me to put a sentinel in here so when you show up, we've blessed this together, so you can just to rubber stamp it?
I don't know what that means, but sure, why not?
Well, a breadcrumb to say, hey, we talked about this and Andrew's happy with it. You can approve it.
Oh, I can remember 5 things, Lonnie.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, you're doing better than me. I can only remember 1. Okay, so that's good. I'll milestone it. So I'll put it in 117. It's like, because it's not in there now. Milestone. Is it 117 or V117? I can never remember the bloody thing.
Usually we put the V.
Put the V? All right, cool. Thank you. This is allow multiple node side masks and kube controller managers. So we'd hard coded this to be a /24 in 116 for the V6 prefix. This allows you to make it configurable. I think it's ready to be reviewed by Tim or Bowie. I think there was a redesign and Anish confirmed that he went and did that redesign.
So that was reviewed and the outcome was, because I'm back channeling with Anish, that
Yep.
we should have different arguments for the cider mask. So,
Cal, have you looked at the implementation on this?
yes.
And you're good with it or no?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know how to interpret that. All right, if it's assigned to me, I will work through it in my queue today.
Yeah, and by the way, Andrew has been doing the job of keeping everybody honest by just checking everything and double checking.
Sorry, Lucky, can you go back to that one real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I saw myself in the reviewer list. Am I in the assignee list?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So that was it. Of the 4 that were put up, there were some ones that were ecosystem, like adding it to kind and other things, but I think they can wait. So the only thing that we're punting or have agreed to punt is the IP tables. The rest are going to be put in. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give up the mic. I may chase people down about docs in the next week. So if...
sorry, go ahead and finish. I have a comment afterwards.
That's it. I just may ping you on anything that's merged.
Yeah, I expect. Other PRs that we want to get in today, I'm looking at the list of PRs that are assigned to me, which I know is a subset of all PRs. Like the Debian IP tables one, Dan?
So it looks good, except that it seems to be breaking the EDE kind IPv6 in inexplicable ways, which seem to have nothing to do with what the PR is doing. It's possible that like pulling in the new Debian thing has changed something that breaks that environment. I don't know.
So, I mean, this IP tables incompatibility thing has sort of festered for a long time, but it's pretty in our face now. Do we need to do something with this, or I mean, I guess we can justify this as a bug fix, but eek, it's kind of a big back patch.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, it's not changing anything in Kubernetes. Well, I guess it changes the images that we ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what to do. It's passing EDE GCE.
It's not passing kind.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look. I mean, did we get some of the kind folks to weigh in at all? I don't see.
I'm looking into it. I was chasing these IPv6. The IPv6 kind jobs are flaky, and I was hoping that was a problem with the IP tables version, but it doesn't seem so.
Okay, but I don't think we can merge it as long as it's red, right?
I don't trust this job.
I mean, I don't trust the job either, but if it's going to be red for everything from now on, then it kills the signal, right?
No, but well, we have 2 kind IPv6 jobs. This is this is a job that I'm running in parallel with the full suite of end-to-end. The conformance tests with IPv6 are passing.
Oh.
The problem is with the job that is running all the end-to-end tests that is failing.
Okay. All right. I'll leave this one in my queue. I was hoping maybe I could kick it out, but oh well. I'll look at it today to see if there's anything I can do with it. Do you recommend that we merge? Well, I don't know if it will let us merge anyway, right?
It will, because the test that's failing is not required. So we could merge and then hope that we can fix the kind test later.
How is it doing with other tests on the test grid? Because sometimes things get broken there and we don't see it on the PR.
With IPv6, you mean?
Yeah, do you have IPv6 and other tests as well?
With IPv6, I have alerts on my inbox.
Changing the image will probably have some implication on any tests that are not exactly running on the PR.
I mean, all the other PRs passed except for the container D one, which has failed the last 100 runs. So, although I don't know to what extent the other tests actually make use of the changed images.
I don't think they change images. Do they? They push and change images?
I mean, like, you know, the integration test probably doesn't even run the the images. It just, runs stuff directly, right? So.
All right, I'm not sure what the right answer is. I will see if I can discern that. But if we miss the boat on this, is like how bad is it, really?
It just means that 117 will have the same warnings as 116 does about, this will work in some environments and not work in others.
All right, it's not the end of the world, but
no, it's not.
Makes it worse. Okay. Are there anybody else feel like they have PRs that are, oh my God, why isn't Tim reviewing me?
What happens with the one that's in conflict that you just approved? So
the topology.
So I think it's the middle of the night in China.
Oh, that's a good point.
Get an exception for that one.
Yeah, I think we can get an exception. Like it was LGTM.
It was LGTM approved. It's just that
it met the window. There's just a conflict. I think we can justify that. Okay. Next.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Any more? No? In that case, Diamond Chip wants to know about this KubeCon thing.
I just figured there should be something on the agenda in case there was anything that we wanted to discuss before KubeCon. Usually we do a lunch, but I don't know if it's too late to plan that at this point or if people are busy with other things. I know I have more and more non-KubeCon sorts of meeting things going on.
Yeah. I would love to get together, even just super informally. Lunch is, I could do Wednesday lunch, or I can do like Thursday afternoon. We've got the SIGNet deep dive, and then we've got some Ingress stuff right after that. We could just sort of hang out after that. Anybody?
Wednesday lunch, I think there is a network plumbing working group thing going on. Dan, am I remembering the timing on that right?
I think so.
So that might be bad.
I have a question. You guys talk about stuff and meetings and so on. Is there a place I can look and see these things happening? And
I meant like, with coworkers and customers and stuff like that, like stuff separate from the actual agenda.
Yeah, my calendar is filled mostly with customer meetings and stuff. But Thursday, I have nothing fixed on the calendar except for SIGNet intro deep dive, something about Ingress, following up on that proposal, and then nothing. So anybody's going to be around Thursday, maybe we could do that.
Like what time?
We have time for lunch. How about 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock. It's a late lunch.
No, I'll have to get lunch before this.
Not lunch.
2 o'clock is late enough to be explicitly not lunch. Yeah. 2 o'clock, yes? I don't know where we're going to be. Pay attention. Sorry?
When's the intro deep dive?
That morning at 11.
Oh, okay.
All right. I don't know where we can meet up, but why don't we say same place as the SIGNet deep dive, wherever that is?
In some convention center.
And I know the San Diego Convention Center is like a mile across, so like instead of picking a room at random, let's say wherever the SIGNet deep dive meeting was, whatever room is assigned for that, that's where we meet, 2 o'clock Thursday. Yes? All right.
Cool. Sounds good.
No agenda. We're just going to talk.
I think that transitions into my thing pretty easily, which is, what is it, 1225 to 125 Ingress Next Gen discussion for anyone who's interested. So that's Tuesday, at the Google's Community Lounge, I think is what it's called. I don't know, but I sent an email out. It's in Slack and it's on the agenda. So
Sorry, that's this one.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yes, we have a community lounge put aside for this stuff.
Cool. That's all I got on the agenda. Any last minute items?
I have a question for Rob. Rob, you are the one that is doing these slices and point thing, no?
Yeah.
So how is this gonna work with the dual stack? Is we don't need the meta proxy thing with the endpoint slices, or we still need the meta proxy? With
we still need metaproxier, but now that we made a change in this 1.17 release where instead of just an IP address type for endpoint slices, we have IPv4 and IPv6 address types. And so it's really easy to integrate with metaproxier and kubeproxy in general. Yeah, so there's one PR, I think Lockie just linked it in chat, that implements it.
Okay, thanks.
Who's reviewing that? Is it going to make the cut?
Yeah, it's already in.
Okay.
Early this time, Rob. I remember last release we were all weekend trying to merge that thing.
Never ending. Feels a lot better this time.
I know you're early, and CI must have been up because I think CI was down last time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're like merging things blind.
Yes. Thanks for working with me.
No,
How
no
did you
worries.
remember that? This feels to me like 3 years back. Honest, like when you said that, it's like, wow, that happened just 2.5 months ago.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like that endpoint slices were close to being pulled out for at least a week after code freeze, and eventually things stabilized. But,
I asked you for a revert patch.
Yep.
We're gonna pull it out.
It's crazy.
Excellent.
Thanks a bunch.
See everybody in 1 month then.
Or next week if you're there.
Or next week if you're in person. But on this call,
Whatever
1
comes
month.
first. In 1 month, yeah. See everybody in a month.
Or January for me. I'm off for a month.
Nice.
Enjoy.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.